What's going on, everyone? So, Matthew Lillard will return as Stu Macher in Scream 7. So, a couple things. One, we do not know in what capacity, right? The idea that many Stu stands, want to see Stu Macher return in is as the killer, right? The mastermind, the orchestrator, leader of a cult, whatever, right? I've said that I actually would prefer him to be reformed. Right, I would actually prefer Stu Macher to come back, have something to where he finally gets released from prison or psych ward or wherever he's at, and then killers start taking people out. Everyone thinks it's Stu Macher. It's not really Stu Macher. Stu's trying to prove himself and then ultimately becomes one of the heroes at the end. My reasoning for this is, one, I think it would be less that you'd have to explain, right? It's like, so for 30 years, he just didn't do anything. Now he's out or escaped or whatever. And after 30 years, he's deciding to go after Sidney again. Like, what? Talk about a long game here, right? Like, I just think if he's reformed, got out, and he's kind of like the red herring, I think that, I think a lot doesn't need to be explained, right? He's just been locked away to himself, trying to change his life. Also, another thing is that he wasn't the guy, right? He was the patsy. I mean, even Roman talked about how he was the patsy, right? Talked about how he told Billy that, like, hey, you need to find somebody to be the fall guy, right? And that was Stu. Stu was never really the mastermind. So to me, I just think that having him be the reform version, I think makes a little more sense. It'd be a little easier to get across. But there's a million ways that he could come back. Could be a flashback sequence. Could be, I've seen people throw out like voice changer, right? Maybe it's just the voice for this Ghostface. Maybe they'd have a nice little callback to like Scream 3. Maybe it's just like an hallucination. Like, so a Billy, maybe Sidney seeing all like the Ghostface of the past, because you also have a Roman Bridger returning. Look, if I'm being honest, I think that they're going to bring him back as Ghostface. I think he's going to be the leader. I think he's going to be the bad guy. It's something that, is definite fan service. Something that I've talked about. If they were ever going to do it, now would probably be the time to do it. I am not a fan of them bringing back Stu Macher at all, personally. I just think, let the past be the past. Let's move in a new direction. Why do we have to keep rehashing stuff, particularly with this new iteration, right? Like Scream 5 and 6 had success. Like, I don't know why they have to continuously provide all this fan service and have all these characters come back. And it's just like, I get the audience reaction, and you want that attention, and you want that kind of media and advertisement and stuff, but it's just like, it gets old after a while, right? Like, and the beauty of Scream is that you don't have to keep being repetitive. You don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. You don't have to keep bringing back old characters and buying into fan service, stuff like that. We've seen that be the end of franchises. Time and time again, we've seen that be kind of the end, right? And it's just, yes, to a small minority of Stu fans, right? This will be great. This will be everything. But to a large majority, people either aren't going to get it, aren't going to understand it, are going to think it's stupid. Like, didn't he die? Right? Like, because you got to keep in mind, I try to hit this on everything, not just the Stu situation, but us people, like you watching this video right now, myself who makes the videos and stays up to date and all that stuff. We are such a small minority. Us diehard Scream fans are such a small minority compared to the general audience, right? And a lot of times, and that's why these things fail, is because studios want to provide fan service, but that fan service only really targets a small minority of the large mass that is going to see the movie, right? So the people that are on the Stu train and people that are diehard for Stu and stuff like that, they're going to love it. They're going to be so excited. They're going to be so thrilled. They're going to get the thing that they've been hoping for so long. But to a general audience, they're not going to get it. They're not as passionate about Stu. Like, they're going to look at this and go, like, wait, didn't he die 30 years ago? Why did they bring him back? That's usually how it goes, and that's usually why it fails. Because, again, most people look at it and go, this is stupid. Why are we doing this? Right? And then nobody takes the film serious the rest of the way. And I don't want to sacrifice Scream to just provide fan service, right? Like bringing back Roman and doing all these things. Again, we don't know what capacity they're going to return, and maybe it's in a fun way, but based on how Scream 5 and 6 have gone, I am not confident that they're going to be able that they're going to go in a creative direction with this. I think that it's going to be as straightforward as possible. And also, do you trust these new writers, given the way that they've written the legacy characters in Scream 5 and 6? Do you trust them to properly write a story about Stu Macher? Because I don't. Right? I mean, Sidney Prescott serves zero purpose. She drove the plot in zero direction. She was completely... You could have done that entire movie without Sidney Prescott in Scream 5, right? Nothing she did was relevant, right? Her shooting through the door was probably it. And, the I'm bored. But her putting the tracker, she immediately looks at Gail and says that she learned it from her, right? Her saving the day at the end and being part of the takedown of Ghostface, right? We knew Mindy was alive. Mindy could have been that. And on top of that, that would have been a great callback to the original idea that they had for Scream 96, in which Randy was the hero. And Randy was the one to push the TV on Stu's face, right? And he was supposed to get the girl in Sidney Prescott, and then they changed that, right? They changed it because they believed, it was just too soon, right? Like Sidney Prescott's boyfriend that she's had for the last year just died, and now she's like jumping with Randy, right? Like, so it would have been a nice callback. Scream 6, again, Gail served no point to the plot, had no purpose in that film. The only thing she did was discover the shrine room, and guess what? Detective Bailey, the killer, literally said that he was going to reveal it. So it didn't like foil Ghostface's plan, or, Ghostface was there and almost got caught or anything. Like, it literally served zero purpose. And now we're going to trust, with the lack of character development of the core 4 characters and characters that they've brought into Scream and all that stuff, that they're going to write a good, compelling story with Stu Macher, have to tell the story of Sidney Prescott and her family and her children, rise up the new, Sidney's daughter, Tatum, and do all the... You're trusting them to pack all this stuff into like a 2-hour movie? I just don't buy it. I don't believe and trust in this writing staff well enough to actually do this in a proper manner. I think that this is going to be a disaster. I think that they are going to half-ass this. I think that they are going to bring Stu back. And, again, like, you carbon copied in 96 into Scream 5. You carbon copied Scream 2 into Scream 6. And now I'm going to expect you to not do the same thing in Scream 7. Right? And like, I get, like, yeah, there are things that were different and blah, blah. Like, it literally is the definition of, yeah, you can copy the homework, just change things so it doesn't look the same. Right? So instead of it being, the mother, it was the father this time. Oh, and we also added, 2 siblings into the mix. Right? Like, but ultimately it was the same thing. Right? Like, and just, I don't know, I'm not a fan of this. I think that they are going to half-ass this story. I think it's not going to make sense. I think it's going to end up being a bit disappointing. And I think, and you run the risk of ruining a character. I love Stu Macher as a character. I do. I thought he was great, right? Like, I love Matthew Lillard. I think he is a great human being. I think he is a great, just character or actor in this story. Like, but here's the thing again, like, I don't trust these people to get this right and do what is necessary to tell a good enough story. I just don't. I don't buy it. And I think that this is going to be a letdown, personally. But that's my opinion, and as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Kind of mixed in the middle? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I would love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.